Hello and welcome to part 3 of my eco audit series. This time we're in the kitchen. Actually, last episode we were also in the kitchen. We were talking about cleaning, and now we're just focusing on kitchen stuff. So let's get into it. If you haven't watched my other 2 episodes in this series, this audit is a personal audit that I'm doing on my own lifestyle, my household, to determine an overall score of how I'm doing in my life in terms of environmental sustainability, counting both the good and the bad, the positive progress that I've made, and the areas that I need to improve.
Hey, kid, listen, there's nothing wrong with having some room for improvement.
And hopefully this serves as like a benchmark in my sustainability journey, and I can look back on it a year from now, 2 years from now, and see how much I've improved. How does the saying go? Things that get measured get done. Something like that. But the basic message of that saying is that when you measure stuff and monitor progress, you're more likely to achieve progress, achieve success, than if you weren't measuring at all. Which is why I decided to do this benchmark. More just for myself personally, to understand where I'm at, but if it inspires you to do your own audit in your own lifestyle, that's awesome too. So the kitchen is a rather big room. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start in one corner of the room and work my way around, picking out different things that sustainable swaps that I've accumulated over the years, as well as areas where I feel like I could improve and become more sustainable. That being said, let's get into it. Let's start over here. This is my tea station, which I actually really love. This is the teapot that came secondhand from my mother. She didn't want it anymore, and I was like, sure, I'll take it. And it actually works really great. It's super easy to use it. Just fill it with water and put it on the stove. Very basic teapot, but it gets the job done. And it's eco-friendly because secondhand. Yay! The other thing I like about my tea station, though, are my little tiny loose leaf tea steepers. Like, this is so cute. Look how, you can't tell me that this isn't cute, especially if it's floating in your mug. It's got a mesh container where you put the loose leaf in, and then it just little floats in your tea. And it's more sustainable because, if you didn't know, most tea bags are not compostable or biodegradable because the material is actually a composite between paper and plastic. So because there's plastic in it, it's not compostable, unfortunately, even though it looks like it's made out of paper. And I also have another steeper that is in the shape of a teapot. Works the same way. But using loose leaf tea with reusable steepers is a great sustainable habit. All right, what's next? Moving on to the paper towels. Paper towels are not the most sustainable option because it's single use and creates waste, gets rid of trees because it's a paper product, although paper is better than plastic. But I think I'm going to give myself eco points for this because we don't really use our paper towels. Like, it takes, the last roll that we had, I think, took almost a year for us to use it up. Like 3/4 of a year at least before we needed to replace the roll, because we don't actually use our paper towels very often. The way we achieve this is 2 ways. One, actually maybe three ways. One, we don't really make a lot of messes, so that's good. And we don't have a lot of finger food either, so we just use utensils, and so no reason to use a napkin while eating. The second method to reduce paper towel consumption is every time we eat out or order in, often we end up with a bunch of extra napkins, and I save all of them. If we don't use them, even if there's 2 left, 1 left, I will take it home and save it. And then that's what we use first. And every time this pile depletes, I usually end up replacing it with more napkins that just come. And it's not like we're stealing napkins from establishments. These are just napkins that get handed to us or put in the delivery bag.
You order anything to eat at any restaurant, they give you 50 napkins. Every restaurant you go to in America, just make it rain napkins every day. Glass of water, 5 napkins.
And then the third reason that we don't use a lot of paper towels is because of these guys. Towels. Well, we normally have 3 towels in the kitchen at any time. The one by the sink is used to clean up messes. Pretty much all of the surfaces in the kitchen are cleaned by the towel by the sink. Splashback around the sink, oil splatter on the stove, the breakfast table all get cleaned by this towel right here. And then the other 2, this one and this one, are basically just good old hand drying towels. And they get replaced regularly and thrown in the wash. And we have a whole bunch in the linen closet on deck to replace them every time we need to wash them so that they don't get gross with bacteria. So I guess just like hand washing with towels, using napkins from restaurants, and not making very much mess, we don't really end up using our paper towels that often. When we're like frying stuff and we need to collect oil, or wiping down pots and pans that are very oily, then we'll use the paper towel. Pretty sure that's the majority of the paper towel usage is for oily messes. So yeah. Moving on to the cabinets. Again, some of these items are secondhand, so figure out what your parents don't want anymore and take it. I mean, that's kind of what we did. Or, you know, the thrift store is also a great place to find secondhand goodies for the kitchen. That being said, what I really want to show you is this. Not the bowls. The bowls are nice, though. They are made out of plastic. But guess what? My beef is not with well-made, durable plastic that lasts a really long time, like these guys. My beef is with single-use plastic. Single-use plastic is a no-no, but durable plastic that actually has a significant life cycle is not bad. But these guys are very eco-friendly. Stasher bags. You've probably seen them before. They've become pretty popular, but they're great for storing snacks on the go, fruits and veggies, particularly veggies that I've cut for one meal but there's leftover. I save the rest of the veggie in this for the next time that I cook. I kind of want to get more of them because they're very handy and they're reusable. Great plastic swap for Ziploc bags. These are also a great plastic swap for Ziploc bags. I got them from Net Zero Company, but you can find them in other online retailers or eco-friendly shops. And they also fill the need of Ziploc bags, but what I mainly use these guys for are freezer bags. I freeze meat in them because I like to buy in bulk. Buying in bulk is very sustainable for a number of reasons. Not only do we store meat in the freezer in these guys, we also can marinate for like a couple hours overnight, anything you want, and then just cook straight from the bag. So these are very versatile. And what you do is they act very similar to a Ziploc in that you zip to lock it, like so. Ready? Zip. And then it takes a little bit of muscle to get it all the way sealed. But that just helps it create a very watertight. It is watertight seal. It won't leak if you zip it all the way. They're dishwasher safe, as well as microwave safe and freezer safe. But we hand wash these because we don't use our dishwasher, which I talked about in my previous video. And I actually do want to get more of these as well because sometimes I run out and I'm forced to use plastic. We rarely use plastic Ziploc bags, but we have them because I stopped buying them back in like 2019. I don't buy Ziploc bags anymore. But when my husband moved in, he had a bunch stocked up. So we still have a bunch. And I use them occasionally. But most of the time, we use these. Less plastic consumption though. It's still better than nothing. And then, oh my gosh. The silicone continues. These guys. These are like silicone lids. They look dirty, but they're not, I promise. It's just water spots because it's hard to get them dry unless you hand dry them. and then you can get rid of the water spots, but they're just water spots. And basically you stretch it over anything. I've stretched it over half of a watermelon so I could save it for the next couple days. Stretch it over bowls, cans, like this one. This one's a really good one to stretch over a can to just save. You could save anything, and this really helps reduce the need for plastic wrap, cling wrap, Reynolds wrap, that kind of stuff. This was a gift. I didn't actually buy these myself, so I don't know where you can get them. But yeah, they eliminate the need for plastic wrap, which also very wasteful, very single use, not my vibe. Although the other way to eliminate the need for plastic wrap is just to store things in containers, like Tupperware. Although glass Tupperware is better than plastic and more durable and lasts longer, although they are a little bit more expensive. But it's more of an investment because you can have them for longer periods of time. I'm talking about these guys. Very good for eliminating plastic waste. I mean, this is plastic, but again, it's durable plastic that lasts a long time. Definitely an upgrade over Tupperware if you can afford to make that investment. I mean, really, honestly, I can't think of a function of plastic wrap that can't be met by a container. Maybe if I think hard enough. But even then, that greatly reduces your usage. Just use containers. But that's it for this cabinet. Boom. These are also great to eliminate plastic wrap. They are beeswax food wraps. They come in different sizes, although this one, they're all medium sized. I've seen a bunch of different brands online. You can use them for many applications. The main application, like I was saying, is a replacement for plastic wrap, and they're like not sticky when you touch them. However, if you apply pressure and heat, like just the heat from your hand, they act like plastic wrap. So pressure plus heat from your hand, just so I can show you, it acts like plastic wrap, and you can cover bowls and jars this way. You can also cover fruit and veggies this way. I've seen those like food hugger things. You can get them at the grocery store that are supposed to hug the edge of a sliced open fruit or vegetable. But you can use this as well. Same way. Put the fruit, cover it up. But if you have a bigger size, this is the medium. Cover larger vegetables, or even make like a little sandwich envelope and carry a sandwich that way. I've seen ones that have like a tie string around it, so once you fold it, you just wrap it around. To clean it, you just wash with a little bit of mild soap. Hand wash it like so, very gently. And it lasts for a really long time. A year or longer. So basically reusable cling wrap. That's what this is reusable cling wrap. And it's biodegradable and compostable. Yeah, pretty cool. Now we're over by the sink, and I talked about this in my previous video about cleaning. Refillable soap by Drops. Love it. Huge fan. Very convenient and user-friendly and plastic-free. But what I forgot to mention in that video, and I'll mention it now that we're here, is we also have a not fully sustainable, but better than the conventional sponge. And the reason this is better is because it's antibacterial and made out of silicone instead of a normal sponge, which those typically tend to smell pretty quickly and so have to get discarded more regularly. Whereas this bad boy can last several months without it smelling or getting gross. It just gets worn out a bit because it's missing some bristles. But the one that we had before this was actually made out of a better material and lasted over a year. But I couldn't find that brand again because I got it at like an end cap in the grocery store. I don't even remember what the brand was. It's not super great for the environment because it's still plastic. Is silicone plastic? But it is better than having to buy and dispose of the conventional sponge more regularly when you can have one of these that lasts a whole year or about a year. So it's still producing less waste. This is, though, an area of improvement. I could probably go find something that's made with natural materials, a bamboo brush or something similar. So that's on the list of improvements. Moving on to this side of the kitchen. Over here is my oil saver. If you didn't know, cooking oil can actually be used multiple times. I tend to use my oil like 2 to 3 times. But the good rule of thumb to tell if your oil needs to be dumped is when it starts to foam up when you cook, or when the heat increases. That means it's bad and it's time to replace with new oil. But I like this because it's got a strainer, and I'll show other footage of me using it. So you can get the large large particles, food particles, out of the oil. Super easy. Grab it, pour it into whatever I'm cooking, and then it has its own little drip pan, so mess free. Another thing that helps with oil, this bad boy, Misto. It you fill it with oil, and then it acts as a oil spray. Just refill it out of the bulk oil that I buy. Again, bulk buying is a very good sustainable option. For example, I buy like big ones like this, and I use that to refill this guy right here and this guy. And then you reduce waste from having to buy smaller canisters and containers. Again, bulk buying. Bulk buy spices and herbs. We do have some small ones, but you can save waste though by buying the bulk containers, which you can get at bulk stores like Costco or BJ's, or I've heard you can also get them at like cooking supply stores. If you are someone who likes to cook and uses a lot of spices, it's another way to be more sustainable. And of course, last but not least, is my handy dandy compost bin. This is my indoor one that I use for convenience while I'm cooking. Just pop stuff in here, and then I go empty it outside where I have my larger compost bin. And now for the summary part where I tally up the score of eco-friendly versus needs improvement. So to start, we've got loose leaf tea steepers, secondhand teapot, although I'm going to include secondhand items across the board. There were some bowls that were secondhand. The utensil holder I got at a garage sale. So we're just going to include that as like an overarching item. Using cloth towels instead of paper towels, as well as saving napkins from restaurants. Refillable soap, sturdier sponge, sturdier non-bacterial sponge, stasher bags, silicone Ziploc bags, silicone lids, grippy lids. I don't know what you would call them. I guess they're just like silicone lids. Eliminating Ziploc bags and plastic wrap. Reusing oil and using a refillable oil mister. Buying bulk items like the bulk spices, bulk oil. We also buy rice in bulk. Bulk food items. And of course, composting. And then in terms of improvement, I didn't really point them out as I was going through the kitchen, but I was taking mental notes as I was going, and then I can just relay them now. Things that I want to do personally to improve my sustainable kitchen is, one, reduce food waste. I think I do a pretty good job at refrigerator awareness, which is basically knowing the expiration dates of everything in the fridge, knowing when you bought these vegetables, and using that knowledge to prepare meals. Like, oh, this pasta sauce is going to go bad in a couple weeks. I better figure out a way to use it now before it goes bad. Or if I can't use it in the near future, figure out a way to freeze it before it goes bad. I used to waste a lot of food by not having refrigerator awareness or even pantry awareness, because this applies to the pantry. But I've slowly improved in that I pay attention to the expiration dates of things. I use that to help meal prep. And I don't buy products unless I know I can use it all or I can figure out a way to use it all. So I don't know if I should put that on the eco side or the improvement side, because I've already been doing a good job with it. But then again, I do still end up throwing stuff in the trash because it's gone bad. So we'll just keep it in the needs improvement. I have a lot already on the eco-friendly list that I can pat myself on the back for, so we don't need to boost my ego some more. And then another thing that's not as tangible or transparent in the kitchen that I would like to keep in mind moving forward is when it comes to buying new appliances or any new products in the kitchen is to do research. What is the most sustainable option? When it comes to appliances, can I get an Energy Star appliance? Or when it comes to kitchen gadgets, do I really need this kitchen gadget? Or is it just gonna take up space in my kitchen and never get used? So those are the kinds of things that I feel like will help me maintain a sustainable kitchen by not accumulating stuff. So I guess we'll just put that under the term eco-consciousness when buying new kitchen items. Another thing that I'd like to improve is that I still use, even though I was able to eliminate plastic wrap, I still use aluminum foil. While aluminum foil is recyclable, although side note, not every single piece, you have to have a piece that's the size of a tennis ball before you can throw it in the recycling bin. So what I like to do is I like to save all my pieces and then continuously crumple them and add them to the ball until it's the size of a tennis ball. And then I'll recycle. That being said though, a lot of times when I'm cooking, especially roasting stuff in the oven, the foil gets messy with food, and so you can't recycle it unless it's clean. And I'm not gonna go through the effort of cleaning my foil just so I could recycle it, and I think most people wouldn't either. A good amount of aluminum foil still gets thrown into the trash, so I would like it if I could find an alternative to foil. I've seen online like silicone baking sheets that you can put on your trays. That could be an option. I would also like to grow my own herbs like basil, parsley, and what's another one that I use a lot of? Basil I use a lot of. Mint would be cool, but growing my own herbs, that's definitely a big goal of mine to be able to do, so that I don't have to buy little packets from the grocery store that come in plastic. I rarely cook with fresh herbs and use dried herbs just because it tends to go to waste in my fridge because I can never use it quickly enough. But if I had my own plant, I think that would help solve the waste problem. So there we go. I would say that a bulk of the plastic waste that comes out of this kitchen, our kitchen, is from food packaging. And that's something that is hard to circumvent as a consumer because that's an issue that is more in the court of the food companies, more their onus to get better packaging, which is hard to do. But the innovations are there. They're just not widely adapted. I could do a video on that in the future. It's actually really cool, the kind of innovations in the food packaging industry. So eliminating food packaging waste is a goal, but that's not so much. There's a limit to what can be done on the consumer end. Although there are ways actually, now that I think about it. Like buying produce, loose produce instead of packaged in plastic, because sometimes, like for example, sometimes peppers come in plastic bags, whereas you could buy your own peppers without plastic. Granted, some people use those produce plastic bags that come on in the rolls in the produce section. I don't use those. I use a cloth reusable produce bag. Actually, I could go show. Ooh, these kinds. If you buy produce and store it yourself in these instead of those plastic bags. I have different kinds, actually, different materials that I've accumulated since starting my eco journey. But this has plastic. Oh no. Don't come for me. Listen, this is still better because it's reusable. So there are ways to reduce food packaging, at least when it comes to produce, because that is a natural whole food. Or we could just blame the companies. You know, that's cool too, I guess. Anyway, that is it for my kitchen eco audit. Only one more episode left in this series, and that's for lifestyle, which I've kind of already touched on with food shopping behaviors. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to live your best green.